show on the road here. I want to welcome everybody. So welcome to Sage Intacct Canada webinar, brought to you by Sage and ETHOSystems. My name is Derek Schaerer, and I am a senior Sage account executive with ETHOSystems. ETHOSystems is a Sage preferred business partner in North America. And, and as we can see here today, with Sage present, Sage Intacct Construction is what you came here to see. We are going to look at it. We're going to look at it together. We're going to do a nice little high level overview of that together. But first off, what I really want to hone in on is the partnership that I'm looking to develop with you and carry on. ETHOSystems is only interested in long-term relationships. And in order for you to, one thing is to have the right software. Huge part where people lack is the right partner. And so here, look at this as my introduction of ETHOSystems to you. And if we just move to the next slide. All right, I guess we have to click, won't work. All right, there we are. So at ETHOSystems, we have over 3,500 successful implementations in the CRE and 35 plus years working in and serving the CRE market. Now, in doing all of that, what does that let us to? Been able to positively impact over 22,000 people's lives. And some people go, where did that metric come from? Our founder, Don Pernay, found it very important to understand what we're doing. It's not just about the money. I know we're all in it for money and everybody gets a paycheck. I get that. And everybody attending, you're at work for a reason. It's not volunteer. But you want it to feel like there's more. And we connect with a lot of great people and we want them to succeed. And part of that is grabbing the right software and pairing that with the right partner to essentially train, implement, and support you long term. Now, ETHOSystem presence is not only in USA, it's in Canada. So Canada and the US, we're not half a world away. And why I say that is important to understand the Canadian market, because there's Canadian terminology that isn't quite completely understood. Simple example, retainage, okay? Retainage. Well, Canada's holdback. Now, holdback and retainage, darn near the same thing, but it's going to be taxed just slightly differently, and that's a huge thing. You can't have a slight difference, and that's going to equate to big problems if you don't have that nailed down in the accounting system. So, Sage Intacct Construction is the best-in-class cloud-based accounting system, and for a reason, because they acknowledge the fact that the Canadian market is different, and ETHOSystems acknowledges this as well with the way they hire, and we have several Canadians on staff. And if you have a US entity as well, we are spread out all across this continent. And we continue to successfully implement and continue to work with Canadian-based companies in the Sage 100 contractor realm and Sage 300 CRE world. All important, and a lot of great solutions within Sage Intacct, are leveraged from the experience in Sage 300 CRE and Sage 100 contractor. And when I talk about the hiring of Canadians, I'm one of those Canadians. So if you happen to be traveling down the Trans-Canada Highway on the number 1 and you see the world's tallest teepee, well, you're in my backyard. So on that first slide, if you did a screen grab and grab my phone number, your email address, you can shoot me a message. I like 2 things: long walks on the beach and talking Sage Intacct Construction. And since we don't have beaches, you don't have to worry. We're just going to talk in Sage Intacct Construction together. So I think a few of you might know if you're close to in the Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta realm world, you'll know where this is, Medicine Hat, Alberta. Now, ETHOSystems, we are experienced in construction and in Sage Intacct, highly qualified, trained, and certified Sage Intacct consultants. But how did we get them? We have a practice director like no other. His name is Stuart Blumenthal. He looks after our cloud consultants that are honing in on Sage Intacct Construction. Stuart's literally written manuals on implementations, in solutions like Sage 100 Contractor. So that wealth of knowledge and process-oriented mind has attracted the best of the best, and that's what ETHOSystems is and strives to continue to be, is the best. There are companies throughout North America that want to be the biggest, and by golly, good for them, they be the biggest. We model ourselves to best represent the people we partner with, and that's you. And so all we want to be is the best, and the best for you. We specialize in working with construction and real estate companies is the only industry we work within. And this is important to understand because it's not a question anymore of, is Sage Intacct construction right for you? Yes, it is. It's ready for you. It's right. It's about when is it for you. So whenever it's ready, you need to have the right partner in mind. And there are all kinds of organizations across. We're one that's solely focused on construction, and you need to. You can't just dabble. Construction there's very specific needs, and it's diverse enough we need enough people to have a keen understanding of all the different verticals within construction. We do specialize in working with Sage. Again, it's another key word I think I'm going to be using today is focus. It's necessary to have that focus. We're not representing other solutions because we know it's the best in class cloud-based solution. We don't need a second offering. We don't muddy the waters with that. We've evaluated, looked at, we know what's the best. We use it ourselves. But you pick the right software and you pick us as a partner. That's great. What happens next? Well, we got to have a process. What's nice is it's been a repeatable process. So clients are continuously happy. You can get lucky once, but you need to have things in place. And what we do is you seek first to understand, and that's what our team does. With a detailed discovery right at the beginning, mapping out those issues and the solutions that need to be put in place. We're going to have expectations defined, and we're going to have that fully agreed upon project cost up front without a sucker punch later on. So I think there needs to be comfortability and confidence when we're moving towards a project together. Now, throughout the project, there's going to be the setups, there's going to be transparency along the way with communication. And then there's that go live where we're all working towards and people think, oh, all right, we're live. You're not done. And we're not done. What's paramount is that ongoing support after. That's where a lot of times the rubber's really hitting the road. There's going to be those questions. We're there. And on top of just passively being there, we also actively have free training and webinars regularly. And past that, we have a stellar account management team. We have ladies that truly, truly care about your success. So we're going to continue leveraging that experience, and our experience just continues to deepen, and we're going to share that with you. Understanding the complexities is huge. So when you're choosing Sage Intacct construction, what you're choosing is the ability to have options. Now we can have you can stay all within. But there's a lot of companies that have solutions like Procore, for instance. Well, Procore, we have a great relationship with, and Sage Intacct Construction, being the best-in-class cloud-based accounting system, is made to pair with the best-in-breed operational solutions. So if you do choose, say, a Procore, for instance, that's fine. We have certain consultants that specialize on the Procore integration. We have one lady in particular that even worked for Procore for over a year. So our intimate knowledge of these solutions will get you to the end zone. We want to have long-term success, and so we're going to continue to hire these consultants everywhere to make sure that you're well represented. We know it. I shouldn't say we. I'm really taking credit for a lot of our team, but our consultants are the best. They know the solution better than anybody else. So with you came here, you could grab an accounting system. There's other systems out there, but what we want is construction specific, and we want true cloud. Sage Intacct is true cloud. It's multi-tenant. I'm going to crack into that a little bit more here in the next slide here, but we can truly connect all parts of your business. So whether that's an outside payroll source, outside budgeting, we can pull that all in. Now the top line highlights of this: deployments, dashboards, integrations, but let's start with deployments and updates. Quarterly updates. So there's 4 releases a year, but in saying that we're a multi-tenant true cloud-based solution, there's never any downtime. And the wonderful thing about it is you're always on the same version as everybody else. So that makes it really easy to work with your consultant on this. Our consultants, they don't have to guess what version you're on. If you need an upgrade, what's your server like? That's done. That's done with this. You're always up to date with very transparent notes on the releases, which I'll show you soon. Dashboards and integrations. So with an unlimited number of dashboards, I mean, if you want 100 users in here, we could create 100 dashboards for your employees if need be. That's probably an insane amount of people, but that's realistic where we can do that for you very simply. They're easy to create and they refresh real time. Now on top of that though, you're going to have the real-time information that's going to be displayed that if you have to integrate with a time entry solution, a payroll solution, or a banking provider, it's all real-time information being refreshed. We move into reporting here, and reporting, there's no more need for a bridge solution like Crystal Reports, or you need to understand some code or some crazy formulas to create a report. No, reporting is Sage Intacct's built on top of a huge reporting engine. Part of that are the custom reports, and I'm going to show you a custom report wizard later on here. But within Sage Intacct itself, there are canned reports. Sage Intacct instructions understood, certain reports need, and now ETHOSystems, in us being completely focused on construction, our consultants have been working in the construction industry for years and years and years, and we see the reporting that's coming out of Sage 300 CRE. Over the last several years, our consultants have built reports. They're ready for you. And if you need something past that, we can easily do that with our custom reports ability. But within there, are there WIPs? Yes, there's a work in progress reports. There's committed cost reports. They're built in there already. Also, when you're looking at reporting, you want to see information, but another thing that's happening though too is without having to monitor every little task, we have smart events within there as well. So anything that's happening that's maybe not meeting or exceeding a certain threshold, you'll get an alert. Do you want an email or do you want an alert within the system? It's there for you. Past that, it could be simply you have a project manager that creates a new project. Boom, you'll know. You don't have to wait end of the day or end of the week whenever he gets around to telling you that you guys might have a new project. You're going to know as soon as he's entering it. So that is, that's crucial. Multi-entity. Now, huge driving force of the reason why to move over to Sage Intacct Construction for a lot of companies is the fact of the multi-entity management. So you're going to be able to run consolidated financials, work with intercompany transactions. You can automatically create intercompany like APGL transactions between the entities. User-defined books are not limited to accrual or cash. There's actually, you can have tax, GAAP, etc. But here's another differentiator too. Canadian GAAP is principle-based, while US GAAP is rule-based. So that's going to be different within the Canadian version. So within our dashboards, it's easily filterable dashboards that are going to show you this reporting for these multiple entities. I'm going to show you how you can seamlessly log in, or you don't need to log in, log out. You can drop in, drop out of all these solutions. And now finally here, I was just quickly talk about, since we won't be looking at this, but it might be pertinent to you. One of your entities might be real estate. And if you have a need for a lease-based property management software, real estate, our Sage Intacct Real Estate is for you. So the SIRE project, Sage Intacct Real Estate, was essentially developed, comes from ETHOSystems, comes from our founder, Don Pernay, and his partner. So he has a huge background in the real estate game. He is a CPA. He's an accountant with real accounting, real estate experience. So that's created this solution specifically for you that need it with that understanding. So you're going to be able to retain your staff better, working smarter, not harder. But the automatic calculations, like recoveries and fees and maintenance, you can accurately handle your complex lease and sublease agreements. It's amazing. I would love to dive into that today more, but it deserves its own webinar. What our clients are saying. So we're getting close to looking at it. We are getting close, but it is essential that I can say one thing, but we do have people, many people throughout North America that are happy. And I think what these words are better said by others and their experience, because Sage Intacct has been a game changer. It's allowing people to scale, grow the way they wanted to for a long time. And they're owing a lot of that success to the team at ETHOSystems. Now, is it me? No, I wasn't in the trenches with them, but again, it's our amazing consulting team. They're getting more clarity on their financial statements with their great reporting tools. So it's there's much more insight due to the quality of the multi-entity accounting. And again, everything's more real time, and everything is real time. And so you don't have to constantly get information from the guys in the field. And I get it. I've been in the office at the mercy of the guys in the field. So I've flown all over the country and been in the field trying to make the ops guys understand how imperative it is to get that information over. You don't have to fly around and beg and plead anymore. We can put the solution in the hands, and it's very easy for everyone to use. If you're already using a current product like Sage 100 Contractor or Sage 300 CRE, great. Sage Intacct is a natural next step in your involvement. We can bring over jobs, work in progress, commitments, estimates, historical info. There's no issue with any of that. And this next point is huge. It's huge. I know it stresses a lot of people out. Well, what's going to happen with our information? Sage wants you to have your information. Sage is not going to take that away. Sage will provide you read-only access to your Sage 100 Contractor or Sage 300 CRE system. So after you migrate, a lot of times it's opening balances for the last 2 years. There are people that I have one lady that wanted her information from 1994. Okay, so that's, I won't comment on my true thoughts on that, but no, it's not necessary. Just take what you need. It's a great opportunity to clean up your customer lists, your vendor lists, your chart of accounts. If you want to look at your cost codes again, awesome time to clean things up and start new. If you're ready for Sage Intacct without even looking at it, great. I mean, the attendees today, at Purchase Software are going to have a 3-month subscription. It's added to the end, so you essentially would only renew in 15 months. So I think it's a great offering. Sage, if I could say one great thing about Sage, they're very loyal to their clients, and I appreciate that. And now we're at that point where I'm ready to show you Sage Intacct construction. So I appreciate you hanging in with me to this point. And I do want you to know, as I turn the lights on, which lights are we turning on today? So we're gonna touch on these areas, all of them. It's gonna take a lot of self-control for me not to dive deeper into them. I'm gonna do my best to stay focused and on task, to show you releases, the navigation. What a lot of people call it is very Sage Intacct being intuitive. I'm gonna show you. It's very, very, very simple to get through. Dashboards, I'm gonna show you 3. I know I told you we could build hundreds, but 3, one being project performance, role-based workflow, and a controller dashboard. There's going to be some users in the organization that's solely what they look at is the dashboard reporting. And then that information's got to come somewhere, and that's the projects you're actively on. And so I want to make sure that you're going to see how seamless it is to navigate through this. We don't need to go all over the place. We're going to stay within one area, and we're going to be able to look at the cost codes, the estimates, change orders, project contracts. And finally, to cap things off, reporting. There's so many different reports I could show you. We could be here all day, but I'm going to hone in on a custom report wizard. I want you to understand that it is really easy to navigate on. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sage Intacct construction. So it is I would consider this the attractive person in the room out of the accounting softwares that are out there. Except with this one, it's not just pretty, personality and brains behind it too. So as I said, we talked about releases, and I do want you to see that, yes, releases it's very transparent. And if you need to see it, here's the release note. So there's 4 releases a year to remind you, and releases are happening all over the world. Do we care what's happening in the United Kingdom? Maybe you do. If you don't, you can just click Canada. We also have, in case for the people that really don't have time to be reading, we can just click this, and we can watch the highlight show, or listen to it, sorry. Again, too, we're honing in construction, so we're maybe not too worried about what's happening, what's pertinent to the nonprofit sector. So we're going to look at construction. I like to start like top to bottom, go left to right. Here's what we're logged into. My name is Derek Schaerer. Over here's our top level. So right at the top level is essentially our container of sorts to handle our multiple entities. And so all our other entities are right within here. So if we want to have a shared chart of accounts, vendor list, all that, sharing is caring. And yes, all these entities can be sharing all of it. But again, though, too, if you have a certain company that's specific, has specific information, we can keep that separate as well. But now, if you remember, in a lot of other solutions, you're going to be logging in, logging out. All I did was click that, and what does it do? It opens another tab. So no more logging in, logging out. It keeps your place, and I like to color code mine just to grab my eye and know where I'm at. Just below there is, some people call this the application chooser. I think it's more known as the menu. So as you can see, we have reports, budgets, everything that we can do within here, your AP, your AR, projects, purchasing. Now, through all of these, no matter where we're clicking in, you're going to have an all in a setup, and you're going to set up essentially what you can do within here. But there's an overview of all of these, and you can see the workflow for this application of what happens. Some of them we can change. We'll get into change order management. There's one thing we can't, but you're going to see that reports that you can generate from here. So all good. Now I am going to go, of course, for 20 seconds. I didn't have this on our map, but I can't help but show you the help. You can literally, if you need help on the page, boom, Sage Intacct, it knows where you're at. It's showing you the GL overview. It knows that. Also, what I like is the help center, because we're, hey, I know intelligent people, but use it or lose it. If you haven't done something for a few months, you're like, oh, how do I do that again? There's great resources. We can type anything in here. There's good training, good support, community with your peers, but then the video library. And it could be as simple as AR. We hit AR and we go, oh, how do I add a customer? Well, within 3 minutes and 23 seconds, you're going to remind yourself how you add a customer again. So you do this right through the program. Very helpful. No more need for Google or trying to chase answers. Yes, as ETHOSystems, we're going to be there for you, but it does feel pretty empowering when you can answer your own questions too some days. Now, next up, what I want to get into is we're going to get into dashboards. And dashboards are just right here in the program. And we're going to look at a few. So there's financial ones we have set up in here, operations, project performance. So this first one up is project performance. Before we dive into it, I do want to show you the different ways we can filter right from the top. So we have our date, locations, or if we have locations or departments we can go through. We can just specifically just see the numbers relating to that. We don't have to have them all lumped up here. And then we can have, all projects or a certain project. You have active ones, if you have backlog projects, current ones, or it could be, look at this. These are the foremen that are on here. If we want to look at certain PMs, if we just want to look at our restaurants, all that can be filtered. So today, what am I going to pick? I'm going to pick the Timberline GC, and we don't have to go 88 miles an hour, but you are going to travel back in time with me a little bit. I think we're going to go to January 2023. I believe that sounds like a good time. So just give it a moment. This one's taking longer than normal. This is not typical. I have one report on here that takes a little longer to generate. So probably not the best one to show on a webinar, but I still want to cap that off before we continue on. So I thought one little hesitation won't be the end of the world today. Now, what's happened here is that all these project performance cards have just refreshed. And so we see these quick indicators. All of these are going to contain financial and non-financial information. And what I've done on here is I've shown some, provided some different quick indicators. And yes, you can personalize and customize to your heart's desire. If you want, you like arrows, flags, smiley faces, you just want a dot or a thumbs up, by all means, we can do that. It takes seconds. So with all of these, as you can see, we can see blue, and when I hover over here, it's green. So anything green or blue, number-wise, we can drill down. So something like project costs, so project performance, this one's a very popular dashboard. What happens here is now drills down. Okay, what's making up this number? It's 47 million. Well, here we can go. Let's look at labor. What's making up this labor number? Let's try to make this a little bigger for everybody. All right, so, there we go. Oh, my computer's hesitating here. So we have wage allocations, we have weekly labor burdens. They're going to take us all the way down. This one, wow, I have a lot going on in this one. Not usually the one that I select. But altogether, it's going to be coming up with the number that we're looking for. So all of those, no matter where we are on here, we can drill down on that. Now, as we continue down, let's look at this project overview. So we have a list of active projects related to this entity that are going to show us, so the project name, but original contract. And in construction, in life in general, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. There's going to be changes that are going to happen. I think in the past few years, I've only had one person tell me that they don't do changes. It's hard not to call them a liar, but I think they're a liar or they lied. Shouldn't call them a liar. But essentially, changes are going to happen. we can all start with a great idea. But these are only our approved changes. Within the system, there's going to be pending change requests that aren't yet approved. We don't need to see that here yet until that's approved. We can actually even run separate reports just specifically for pending requests, and we'll see that in a moment. Contract total, budget estimate, estimated gross profit. We're going to come right through here to commitments, total billings, cost, profit. So essential things that we need to see. Where did we start? We started with an idea, but where are we at and where are we headed? With also this nice little quick indicator that grabs your eye. We don't have to look too close. We know that red means most likely there's something not quite right there. So again, we can drill deeper into this. So in this Quick Bulls Portland one, we can go a little bit deeper. I wish this would pop open a little bit bigger, but again, here we can see the subcontracts that are here. So for our cost of sales, what else do we have? And we have some purchase orders that essentially are going to make up that dollar amount that we're checking up on. So it's not always about problems. You know, everybody's here because, you know, essentially probably making some money. There seems to be a lot of successful people out here. So I look at these as opportunities to see what is going right, because this next one is a project overview by PM. Well, I have Dennis here, Doug, John, Michael, and Christopher. I don't see a lot of red, so we got to be doing some things right. And when we see something that's not quite right, maybe that's where we're going to drill into that a little bit more. So this is going to break it up by project manager, and then we go by job type as well. Just another way to split up that information. So same type of columns, same important information, just slice and dice it in a different manner. If you have backlog projects, there we go. If you don't want to see that, again, we can minimize. Then we got project profitability by type. So we're going to break this the cost of labor, materials, equipment, and subcontractors between what's happening in our restaurants, our hotels, warehouses, tenant improvements. We have schools, GC projects. So all throughout there, here's by a dollar perspective as opposed to a percentage perspective. And then if we just want to see what's happening with just restaurants, boom, here we go, just restaurants. And then we have our project, just another project profitability here. So now, on top of all the C in numbers, because as you can go throughout the day, maybe your eyes are just starting to go wonky. Sometimes it's nice to have a visual. And all these graphs, you can drill down on the graphs just as well as you can any of those blue or green numbers. Okay? And so when you want to see the star enterprises, we can drill into that. And again, you can keep drilling down until you don't see blue or green anymore, right? So just beside here, though, is a very important one, project estimate versus actual. So, and this is the report that I generated that was maybe taking up a little bit of our time. But great report. Essentially, here's a budget estimate, job cost to date, where we are at with the budget, and then our variance. So any report that we have throughout this environment, we can easily add just to the dashboard. Now, the next dashboard I want to show you is, I noticed a lot of people that signed up today are controllers, CFOs. So, we do want to look at a financial dashboard. This is where Sage Intacct is geared towards. Just Sage Intacct instruction has allowed operations to just provide the accounting department with some better information, thankfully. So with this controller dashboard, it's somebody's idea on what a controller wants to look like, or wants to look at, sorry. We got revenue, AR, or AP, gross profit, and operating expenses. Followed by, so I'm liking those green arrows at least, that's looking good. Now we got profit and loss summary, or by detail, location, or we can do a balance sheet detail, followed by, here's our AR aging by project. So that's another dashboard. Now, one more that I do like to show now is, it's another way to use a dashboard. So the way we're looking at dashboards right now has been reporting so far. So all this has just been reporting. What I wanted to get into here was the operations side as well. So what's great is we're in the office. That's wonderful. We want to understand the program. What I've seen in the past is sometimes the operations people don't always want to maybe play well with accounting. I get it. I'm an ops guy, but I like synergy and between departments, and this can help. So you don't necessarily have to show that person the ins and outs of Intacct. I built a dashboard specifically for that. So this is for change requests. So change requests are going to come in, and within Sage Intacct construction, you're going to start with a change request. Once it's approved, it becomes converted to a change order. Okay, so this gentleman's person's job is essentially going to be approving change requests. I only see one right now. It's going to give us some information on it. Need some additional concrete, and easy to start. So, and this one we can have a performance card here. If we need help with the configurations, we can even have configurations set up on the dashboard. They don't need to know how to go anywhere. They don't have to go anywhere. Just below there, change order management, we can go click on right into our change orders. So if somebody has a tablet and they're sitting in their truck, they can go right there, the change orders that are happening. We can put on their key websites. So anything, company driven that we maybe need, or they have their projects, they can select that hyperlink. And we have our resources in here. Now, operations is just one example. I have people that are specifically in accounts payable, and will have their whole workflow. Anything they need to touch, it'll be just a list of what they need to do. It will guide them right through. Even though it's not hard to use the menu, heck, if you can cut down on a couple clicks, why not? Because if you've ever watched a slick sales guy doing a demo, they make things look super easy. And all of a sudden you get into a program and you're like, oh my Lord, this takes like 50 clicks just to do that. Sage Intacct is intuitive. It is easy to navigate, but you can make it even easier. That's the good news. Now, through all these dashboards and reporting on these dashboards, it has to come from something. And what construction is doing is there's projects that are driving it. So, within here, yes, there's a lot of things we can look at. Project contracts, we can look at change requests in here. Here's our cost codes here that we're set up. We go all over the map, but we don't need to. What the purpose of the next step is to show you that here's our projects, but we can view all of what we were just looking at without having to go to a menu, and we can stay within. So here we go. We have the name of the projects right here, the category it's in, the status, the type of project, and then we get into our IDs. And if you wanted to see the cost codes related to that project, we can click cost code. But I'm going to follow 5 Oak Storage. So what is it? It's a warehouse type project. Hit edit. I'm not really going to edit it, but we're going to look at it. And right up here, we've got several tabs. Now, if anybody's on here that has experience with Sage 100 Contractor, I'm more familiar with Sage 100 than I am. I'm not as much of a pro in Sage 300, but Sage 100, at the bottom, you had buckets or buttons where all the project information was falling into. Well, essentially, it's really what's kind of happening here on Sage Intacct. Just we're putting it up here, and we're going to be navigating throughout here to get through our information. So everything's tied and linked, so it keeps our navigation simple. So we're going to start with a project name, category, then we're going to have a project type. And maybe we're starting a new project and it doesn't fit that. Well, you can just add a new project type on the fly, no problem. Have a description tied to a customer, start date, end date. It supports sub projects. So do we want to invoice with a parent? The status, here's our address information, and now this is where we're going to tie our personnel. So for every project, I'd hope somebody would be responsible for it. And in this instance, it's Doug. Doug seems like a popular guy in this environment. Now, next tab is additional info. A lot of just header information. But what I want to show you here is billing. So this is where we set up our terms. Pretty simple. Due upon receipt, net 90. Now, net 90, that's getting into oil field territory. Wouldn't really want that. Billing type. And then we got contract amount. Now, just below here, I mentioned earlier about talking more about the dimensions. So dimensions, so Sage Intacct Construction essentially strips down a traditional chart of accounts into account segments, creating tags, and up to 12 of them. And what I like to say is about dimensions is it's essentially telling a story of your transactions. It's the who, what, where, so what happened. And then additionally, we can report on that in a granular way. So all those dimensions that are being used, all those tags, it's just different ways we can build reports and see our information. So very powerful. And in follow-ups after, I just hone in even more on that. Now, just below there is documents. And as you can see here, we can have attachments right here. And yes, Sage Intacct essentially accepts, I don't know what kind of attachment it doesn't accept. So virtually anything. This is just lot size. This is a pretty simple example, but yeah, it's right there. Some companies are actually getting to the point where instead of Google Drive, they've been using their Sage Intacct as their document storage. I don't know if that's the best solution. That I would definitely recommend talking to our consultants regarding that when we get to that point. Now, project summary. We're going to summarize what's happening on here. Your actual billings, your actual hours here, projected cost difference. And as we go here, hours, billable, non-billable, employees, accounts payable, and purchase order expenses, all summed up right there. And next up is cost codes. So these aren't all the cost codes we have set up in the system. These are the cost codes that are just related to this project of 5 Oak Storage. So as we go on, we can see our cost code ID, the name, description, whether it's billable. And I love seeing all these check marks. I want to see billable. And if we scroll down, we can see it's page 1 of 2. So there's a second page of this. We can see there's a lot of moving parts and people to make sure that this project is working. Estimates. You can do your estimate within Sage Intacct, sure. Or if you're comfortable with the solution that you have outside, you can definitely integrate or import. So a lot of different scenarios you can evaluate that as you go. But with the project estimate within here, we have that estimate ID, that estimate total, and the project that it's related to, which is the 5 Oak Storage. Again, just that information. If we have any attachments, we need some drawings that might need to go in here. Below here are estimate entries. So our effective date, the cost code, cost type. So a lot of subcontract work happening on here. And it goes to the amount and little memo field here. Now, again, we want to use the analogy that, you plan a pretty picnic, can't predict the weather. Change happens. Changes did happen for this project. And so as you can see here, like I said, in Sage Intacct, we start with a change order request. This change order request right here, I can see it's approved. It's for protective covers. I'm going to click it on this one, number 5. So again, I didn't go anywhere else. I'm staying within the estimate. So we went project, we went estimate, we're going to a change order request. And so we got change order request number 5 tied to that project. Our total cost was $22,000. Price 26. So that's showing me we had to have marked it up $4,000. It's already been approved and posted. So this has happened in the past. And then here we have a lot of information where it's tied to what project, whether it's been approved, change order request tied to a certain contract, with the contract line being specialties, and project change order ID of number 2. So, change order. So since it's been approved, after it's been approved, it gets converted into a change order. And description was to change to plan, add canopy cover to open air parking spaces. So, and right around here, it's going to tell you this. And all these areas tagged to areas that we can report on. We can grab that information. And so as we can see here, the price was 22, as I thought, price markup of 4,000, 26. Now, if we want to go back to the estimate, we could click it right there, but we've already been there, done that. Where I'm going to go to next is the change order. So since it is approved, that change order request became this change order. And all it's going to do, you don't have to keep entering the same information over and over. It's pulling the information from the change order request into this change order. It's reducing duplication right there. Again, pulling on that description information, the billing items, the contract line item that it's hitting, which is at specialties. Again, taking us through that 22,000 and 26,000. And what's right here? It's a project contract that it's associated to. So as promised, we're not going in and out, hopping, bopping all over the system. We're looking at cost codes, looking at estimates, looking at project information, change orders or change requests, change orders, and then into project contracts. Sorry. So here's our project contracts, and there's 2 tabs. This first one is the project contract itself and the original price, and that approved change that we just followed now for that $26,000. It's 22,000 marked up 4,000. Total revised, total billed, the retained balance, and total payments received. Again, that same information that keeps following us here. And then below, where I want to look at our contract lines. So here's our line names, the items associated to it, the date, whether it's billable, what kind of billing type. This is a progress bill. And this is where we set our retainage, or where we're kind of our holdbacks. That's approved change price. And there's that $26,000. And where is that? That is in our specialties. So everything that we've been following just continues to be consistent and true. Second tab is billing details.
And here's our billing summary. So total billed or percent billed, we're at 98.14%. Percent billed net retainage, 88. So all that pertinent billing summary information is right there. Now, what I like up next, this was, we have contract invoices and AR invoice payments. Now, ideally in the great world that we're in, this should balance, and these two numbers do balance. So I like seeing that. I also like the fact that this is on the same page. That wasn't always the case. I think just over a year ago, Sage changed that. You used to have to go to two different areas to see all that. Now it's right there, very apparent, transparent. And if we need to look at an invoice, AR invoice, we can open that up. And here we go. I have what information. What I like are these stamps, and I don't know, maybe simple things amuse simple minds, but no, I think sometimes after a long day, we're able to see, just to be able to see things like that fast is important. So I'd like to be able that we tied all that together and we didn't have to go back to the menu to navigate around. And there are so many things in here that we could show you. I mean, up next, we could generate an invoice within the next 2 minutes and it would be done. That's simple. When it comes to AP, I mean, when we're adding bills, we can manually add a bill, or we could just drag and drop, and we have that the OCR ability, the scanning ability, where with a drag drop, and it's going to end up being in the draft mode where we're just really approving it. So a lot of great functionality. But where I promised we'd head to next, as much as I want to hit into, I do want to show you some of these things, is reporting. We do have a report center that's going to house our regular account reports, our custom reports, and interactive custom reports. Today, just being conscious of time here, I just want to look at the custom report. And this morning I made one. So just quicken the process a little bit for everybody. But what I did here was, here's a bunch of reports. What you can do is essentially, if you see a report that you like, you could just use that report, duplicate it, and then just change it up a little bit, use the good bones of it. But I made AP open bills by vendor type. So I'm gonna show you that. What we call this is the custom report wizard. It's essentially the 12-step reporting program is what we say it is. Now, I know that seems like a lie because it says steps 1 of 14. What I did was I added a couple calculated fields because I felt like getting fancy. But what we do is really, it's simple. Step 1, you just need to be intentional. So where do we want this information to come from? And I want AP bill, and we're gonna hit next. Okay. Now step 2 is we're adding the columns to the report, and really with this is we're just going to pick the fields that are pertinent. Anything like this, these are the ones that we can drill down on after the fact. So that's that. And so anything, this will give us what we usually need, and then this will take us through the rest of the program of other fields that we might need, like vendors. Now to go on, step 3. This is where I added a calculated field, and I'm just gonna hit edit to show you what I did. And really, I literally grabbed the AP bill total and the total paid, and I hit minus. So we don't have to know about formulas or anything like that. Very, very, very simple. I added a column name. That was that. So when I say get fancy, my fancy is pretty simple. Next up is the column sequence. So with column sequence, just which order do you want them in? And if you wanted open amount up here instead, you just drag and drop. I mean, very, very simple. What I like about the customer report is I don't always get it right. I screwed it up this morning, honestly. There was one simple thing. I just put it out of order. But you go back in, you adjust it, and you're fine. You're not going to break anything. This is slick. It's easy. Now, on the next one here, this is just step 5 is add more columns to the column totals. We're just going to have total amount, total paid summed up. Do we want grand totals? Do we want subtotals? So sum is the popular one, but obviously you can do averages, variances, and whatnot as well. So next up, step 6. Again, now this is not again, sorry, I should say now we're going to sort the columns. So this is our sorting tool again. We can move these all around easy. If we want this descending, have this ascending, we decide which order and how this information is going to be laid out. So, and if you hit ascending and you meant to hit descending, easy to change after. So I'll hit next. Let's go to step 7, which is going to be filtering. So now this is where we further filter. This is actually where I screwed up. This was my I think was this my mistake? I think I selected the wrong one. Anyway, we don't need the filter. I just chose not to. And that's not where my mistake was. My mistake's going to be step 9. But group number 8, step 8. So sometimes you want some groupings in. Could be customers, could be whatever groups you want, but you don't have to. But I wanted to group this one up just to try out groupings today. This is where I messed up. I couldn't understand why my chart wouldn't come out. It would give me the information, but wouldn't give me my chart properly. But I selected vendor name as my first column. Oh, actually, this should be. And you know what? I think we're going to fix that one. None. And we're going to pick vendor name. Must not have saved that one. So that's where a mistake was. And so this is where we're selecting the columns for the group data. Now I'm going to hit next. Another spot on the order of the groups. So that one's simple. That's on 10. So let's go number 11 here. How do we want so set the default date and add title footer. So if we want to do that, I put an inception to current month is what I did, is what I selected. It's simple. And then the next part was, it's the output. What's our chart display going to look like? So I picked a donut chart, and then I have for the y-axis is the sum of the total amount, followed by vendor type ID, the groupings vendor type ID. And so we're going to be able to essentially produce this in 2 different forms, where it's informational or chart. And this is going to be additional prompts, which now we're getting to 13 and 14, which we don't always need. And then 14 here is we're going to add to a menu. So what I did was, and I'll show you this, is do we want to add to a menu? Yes, we don't have to. We can keep it kind of private to us, but if I wanted to add to, I wanted to add to my accounts payable menu. So I did that, and I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to show you. So it's in this list, it's in this custom report list, but also if we go over to AP, and here's our reports that we can generate out of AP. And here it is, AP open bills by vendor type. So let's select that one. And yeah, sure, as of date. So again, we can view it as a informationally here. Let's give it a moment. So it'll take us right through grouping this information up. Where's my bar? There we go. I just can't grab that. Down to my subcontracts are down here. There's a sum for subcontracts right there. Boom. All that information, it's created. If there's something you don't like about this report that I made, you could use it and you could change it. You could tweak it. Another way to look at it is by the graph. Now, it was the donut one I selected. You can click, moves around. It also, when you're hovering over, it gives you the amount. If you want it moved, you can spin it. If you want to get your way, you can really spin it a lot. And I think you could darn near hypnotize somebody with this donut view. So anyway, yeah, buy Sage Intacct. It is the way to go. But with that, I'm going to flip things back actually to that was what I wanted to show you. I'm going to this back here. So once Sage Intacct construction is decided upon, purchased, it's implemented. What I want to highlight again though is after. It's that ongoing support. Right from your dashboards, those dashboards I showed you, there's going to be an ability to submit tickets right to ETHOSystems. So we have good people right here in Canada that are going to be answering you. They're going to be helping you out with your system. So, and then a reminder that ETHOSystems does provide free training sessions throughout the whole year. So there's quarterly release updates that are done. There's Sage Intacct monthly topic training sessions and new integration and product webinars as well. I want to remind you too about our YouTube channel, ETHOSystems. A lot of great information there. If anything you want to know about Sage Intacct construction, it's there. But again, there's Sage Construction Management on there, as well as Sage information on Sage 100 Contractor, Sage Intacct Real Estate, and Sage 300 CRE. I do want to thank all of you for attending today. I appreciate this. I take a screenshot of that number. I would love to continue the conversation with any of you. And
and go from there. I think we had Mike on here, our vice president, and he's been monitoring the questions. So if we have questions, we can we'll make sure to follow up with the answers. But I think I've taken enough of your time today. I appreciate the commitment, and please reach out and let's continue the conversation. You have a great day. Bye.